Check out FlipSideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on orders over $10. From July 6, 2020 through August 7, 2020, if you use this promo code, you will be automatically entered into a drawing to win a Double Masters booster box. Also, there is another way to win where no purchase is necessary. See the link in the description below for full details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and I'm excited to announce that we are back. We're going to do a preview video today. So we've been doing mostly the finance videos recently on the channel just because that's all I've had time for, honestly. But Double Masters is such an exciting set. A lot of exciting preview cards have been coming out today. So we're going to do a preview video like we used to do. And if you haven't seen these in the past, basically we're going to go over the cards that were previewed over the course of today and quickly recap and analyze them for you. Now, tomorrow we'll be back with a second part to this and we'll cover everything that comes out over the next 24 hours. If you're curious as to the source of these preview cards, just check out the description below. All that information will be down there. You'll find out which content creator previewed which card. Quickly before we get started though, just a fast reminder, if you go to FlipSideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order Double Masters booster boxes or VIP edition there. If you pre-order a booster box, you actually can get it down to $297 with the Heroes promo code, and that does include shipping in the United States. Also, when you use that promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated, so thank you, and without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's start things off by quickly looking at some of the cards they previously previewed a few weeks back. So we know these 5 cards are going to be in the set already. Doubling Season, Atraxa Praetor's Voice, Kaalia of the Vast, Blightsteel Colossus, and Mana Crypt. The bottom row there are the borderless versions of these cards that you can find in this product. Non-foil copies are the box toppers that you'll find in the regular booster boxes. 2 of them are in each box. Then if you were interested in getting foil copies, you'd have to go to the VIP edition. They will carry the foil copies there. But there was actually a correction to some of this information that Wizards put out today. Previously, they said there's going to be 40 of these borderless cards and that they would all be mythic or rares. Today, they clarified that and said that's not actually the case. That was a mistake. 8 of the 40 are not rares or mythic rares. They could be commons or uncommons, and we're going to see some of those in the video today. Just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Pretty unfortunate that they made that mistake. That's a very big mistake to make when you're giving out product information like that. I don't really think it was done maliciously because it wouldn't benefit them in the end. It just kind of makes them look bad, but that's the problem. It just makes them look bad. That's something you just got to get right as a company. So I guess it is what it is. Let's move on and talk about the basic lands. Again, these were previously announced, but we didn't get to see them all in their new card frames until today. It is important to note, though, you're not going to find these in the regular booster boxes or booster packs. These are in VIP edition only, and they will have foil copies as well as regular copies. The top row of lands are done by John Avon. The awkward part is the bottom row is done by Noah Bradley. As we know, Noah Bradley no longer is tied to Wizards of the Coast for very obvious reasons. And this is a family channel. I won't get into it here. But if you are curious as to what happened, just Google it. You'll be able to find it, trust me. Today, Wizards also did show a mock-up of the product, as you see here, that was new. And if you look at the booster packs, there's 3 pieces of art, and you will most likely recognize those 3 cards. Now, one of the cards we will talk about later in the video because it was officially previewed. The other 2 have yet to be officially previewed, so quickly I'll just go over them now. But even though we can most likely guess what rarity they will be, we technically don't know yet, so I don't want to jump to any conclusions. One of those cards is Dark Confidant. I'm assuming it's going to be mythic rare. Previous copies go for about $50. The cheapest foil sells for about $65. The card sees play in Modern and like Jund builds and more. It also does see Legacy and Vintage play, and recently it has been seeing more Commander play, especially as competitive Commander has become more popular. The second card I wanted to talk about is the one you see on the far left there, and that's Breya Ethereum Shaper. Now, this is about $15 if you go back and get the Commander 2016 copy. That copy was only printed in foil, though, so if you want a non-foil copy of Breya, this is your first opportunity to pick one of those up. This is an extremely popular commander, and I think a lot of players will be happy that they will now be able to get their hands on this card a lot cheaper. All right, now we're going to move on to the actual previews that we have mock-ups of. And before I jump into the first card, I wanted to show you the art that's in the background quickly, because the art you see here is actually a panorama piece of art that you'll find on 4 of the borderless cards. One you're going to see right now, the other 3 are later in the video, but that first card is Karn Liberated. On the left, you see the regular copy. On the right, you see the borderless copy. As far as financial value goes, Karn will run you about $42 currently. Foils are about $50 to $75, depending on which version you want to pick up. And this sees play in modern Tron builds, and it does see some Commander play too. Next is Boon Reflection. This card gets some new art. The previous art was at least done in part by Therese Nielsen, another artist that Wizards is no longer working with. Again, you can Google it for the details. But this is actually a pretty sweet reprint. It's a great life gain card in Commander. This is the first time it's being reprinted. The Shadowmoor copy is about $10. The foil is about $20. Next is Jace the Mind Sculptor. You see on the left side again the regular copy, on the right side the borderless, and this is a huge reprint here. Copies of this card will run you about $90 typically. The From the Vault 20 foil is also around $90, but if you're looking to pick up other foils, they do start to get more expensive. Eternal Masters and Masters 25 will usually run you between $140 and $150. The War of the Spark Masterpiece around $200. The Worldwake foil around $450. So this is a great pickup, especially if you want an opportunity to get this card in foil. Modern Control builds will run this, and this does see some Legacy and Commander play too. Another card coming to Double Masters with new art is Thought Reflection. Financially, not a crazy impressive card. You can pick up existing copies for $1 or $2. Foils do run about $17 though. For that reason, I'm kind of glad that this is in the set. And at least you do get 2 rares and 2 foils per pack, which is kind of nice. So if this turns out to be one of your regular rares, hopefully you got something else that was a little bit better in that pack. Now, this has seen some increased Commander play recently in builds like Gavi Nestwarden and Brawlin and Shabraz. Next is Magus of the Abyss. On the right side, you see the actual preview card. On the left, you see a recent printing for translation since the preview card was in French. Now, the card itself does not have a whole lot of value attached to it, unfortunately. Foils from Future Sight will run you about $5. Now, this does see some Commander play in Muldroth of the Gravetide and some other builds in the format. Next, we have Grim Lavamancer. On the right side, you see the German language preview card. On the left, you see a recent reprinting for translation purposes, and boy, is that reprinting recent. It's actually from Jumpstart. So, this card has had a number of reprints. It doesn't see as much play as it used to see. Overall, the value isn't real high on this rare, but if you wanted to pick up a non-foil copy, it would still run you usually $1 or $2. Foils can be a little more expensive. The cheapest foil is actually in the premium deck series Fire and Lightning. That one's around $3, $4 typically. The Magic 2012 foil is around $6 or $7. Some of the older foils, though, can cost you more. The Torment one, the original, is close to $100, and there is a Judge foil that's around $20. Champion of Lambolt. Again, on the right is the German language preview card. On the left is a recent reprinting for translation, and it's another card that was reprinted in Jumpstart. So if you wanted a non-foil version of this card that's already in circulation, it's going to cost you about $2 or $3. However, the foil from Avacyn Restored is about $7 or $8, so this is the first time since then we've seen it in foil. This is a good Commander card, and it does show up in builds like Azuri Claw of Progress, Najeela the Blade Blossom, and Atraxa Praetor's Voice, which is also being reprinted in this set. You'll find it in a lot of other decks too in the format. The next one is kind of an expensive card. It is Exploration. The Urza Saga copy will run you about $70. The Conspiracy about $45. And there's only one foil, and that's Conspiracy. That will cost you about $75. You'll find this one in Legacy Lands. It also gets some vintage play. Beyond that, it's a highly played Commander card in Lands builds and more, and recently has seen more play in the format with Radha Heart of Kjell. Old school Magic artist Mark Poole did the box topper art too. Next is Reclamation Sage. This is at Uncommon, and they are using the Game Day promo art, which is kind of cool on this one. It was printed very recently, though. This was in Commander 2020. Foils of this card do run about $5. It does see some Modern and Legacy sideboard play, and it's a highly played Commander card. Next is Terastodon. Now, this card is not very expensive. You can even get the foils for under $5 very easily. This does see some Commander play, though, in Marin builds and others. Baleful Strix. This is an interesting inclusion. This has been reprinted recently in Mystery Boosters, and it's going to be in the Ornithological Study Secret Lair. Current copies of this card go for around $5, but if you want a foil copy, you have to go all the way back to Eternal Masters. That's the only time this has been printed in foil. That's going to run you about $60. So this is a great opportunity to get this card in foil a lot cheaper. This sees play in Legacy, Esper Vial, and much more there, and it's a highly played Commander card too. Next, we have another relatively low value card. It's at rare. It used to be a mythic. It is Sharum the Hedgemon. Now, non-foil copies are easily under $1, but if you want a foil, it's going to cost a little more. The From the Vault Legends copy is about $3. The Shards of Alara foil, about $8. This does see some Commander play in Breya Ethereum Shaper decks and other places too. Conjurer's Closet. Previous copies of this card go for about $7. If you want the foil, you have to go to Evison Restored, and that's going to cost you about $15. This is a solid Commander card in Yurok the Desecrated builds and more. Engineered Explosives is back. If you want to pick up one of the older copies of this card, it will run you between $11 and $16. Foils, though, have a very wide variety of different price ranges depending on which one you want to pick up. The cheapest is Ultimate Masters. Those are around $11. The most expensive is the one from Fifth Dawn, the original, and that one goes up to around $116, $117 typically. The card itself does continue to see Modern and Legacy sideboard play. Expedition Map is next. This one's a little awkward. First off, this is one of those box toppers that is not rare or mythic. Technically, it is now common again. However, this was just banned in Pauper. If that didn't happen, I could see a lot of Pauper players wanting to pick up this card, but as it stands right now, it's not going to be as popular or as sought after as it could have been. Previous copies do sell for around $4, foils between $12 and $18, depending on the copy that you want to pick up. Modern, you'll find this in Tron builds and also in Dice Factory. Legacy, this is in Mono Green Cloud Post, and this does see a fair amount of Commander play too. Lux Cannon. This is the first time this card's being reprinted. It was originally from Scars of Meriden. Those copies will cost you about $7 to $8, foils around $14. It actually was mythic there, downgraded to rare here. It is in Commander builds like Kozilek the Great Distortion and Atraxa Praetor's Voice, for example. Sculpting Steel, there's a little value behind this one. Previous copies will cost you $7 to $8. Foils, if you go for the Mirrodin or the 10th edition copy, you can get those for around $12 to $15. This is another solid Commander card. You'll find this in Breya Ethereum Shaper, Urza Lord High Artificer, and more. Sunforgers are next rare. This will run you about $4 to $5 if you're trying to pick up previous copies. Foils between $11 and $18, again, depending on which one you want. This sees playing Commander Feather the Redeemed builds, and more. Next is Sword of War and Peace, and this one does have a box topper, as you can see here. The new Phyrexia copy of the card is about $20, the foil about $40. The Kaladesh Invention foil will run about $75 currently. Now, this is another card that does see some Commander play. You'll find this in like Surgwin, Hero of Ashvale, and other decks. Alright, you probably knew this was coming. You most likely recognized the art on the pack we saw earlier, but this is Wormcoil Engine. On the left, you see the French language copy that was previewed today. On the right, you do see the borderless copy in English. This is actually a nice inclusion. This is about a $23 card if you're looking at the previous copies. The cheapest foil right now is the pre-release promo. That's about $26, but if you look at some of the other foils that were released, they're a lot more. Scars of Merridin's about $52, and the Kaladesh Invention is about $120. In Modern, this is in various Tron builds. Sometimes you'll find this in Vintage Ravager Shop sideboards. It's also another solid Commander card. Next card up is Blinkmoth Nexus, and these previous copies will run you about $3 to $4. Foils about $9 to $30, again, depending on which one you want. This does see Modern play sometimes in Hardened Scales, and it does get some Commander play too. Glimmer Void, previous copies of this will run you $6 to $7, foils between $13 and $20, and this is good in Commander builds like Breya and Ethereum Shaper, for example. As promised, here is the other three pieces of that panorama that we saw earlier in the video. They are made up by these three cards here: Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, and Urza's Tower. So yes, they finally did reprint the Urza lands. Last time we saw these in 9th edition, they were uncommon. They are commons though. These are three more common box toppers. However, if history has shown us anything, it's that specialty versions of the Urza lands can still be valuable. And I do think a lot of people are going to want these box toppers, especially the foil copies. Previous copies of these Urza lands will run you between $1 and $10, again, just depending on what copy you want to pick up. Foils, though, are very expensive. There's only two places to go to get them, 8th or 9th edition. Mines are about $60, power plants are about $70 to $80, towers about $80 to $90. And as you know, these see a fair amount of play. Modern, these are in Tron builds. Pauper, they're in Tron builds. These see Commander play too. Many times you'll find them in Kozilek the Great Distortion decks and more. That does it for the first day of Double Masters previews, but more cards are going to be coming out for the next couple weeks, so we will continue to do these recaps every day. Tomorrow, you'll see us again and we'll recap everything that occurred over the last 24 hours. I thought overall this was a pretty good day of preview. Some big marquee cards like Jace the Mind Sculptor. you also had a lot of cards that maybe didn't seem as flashy, but then when you drill down and realize how much the foil prices are, probably a good thing that they're reprinting them in a set like this to get more copies out there. Until next time though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.